Have you checked the children? Your little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Well, hello, Fright fans. Welcome back to Shark Week here on The Horror Show. I'm Jaime Fuego.
I'm Cecil Laird.
And we are continuing our coverage for all of you with one that I had never seen before, initially released in 3D, but available to watch right now on Netflix, minus all of that. We're talking Shark Night, a PG-13 shark incarnation.
I don't know if it's technically called Shark Night 3D or not. I don't know.
That's what it said on the Wikipedia was Shark Night 3D, but then when I watched it on Netflix, it just said Shark Night.
Oh, okay.
And you can tell, just like with a movie we previously reviewed called Bait, the parts where the stuff flies at you and you're like, okay, yeah, that was definitely 3D sequences that were intended. But this one is of the slightly goofier side. I almost got some like Piranha 3D vibes to it at times, which was also another 3D one that was done somewhere around here. But what were your overall thoughts since you've seen this before? Did you rewatch it?
I did rewatch it, yeah. No, I rewatched all of them for this, including Sharknado.
Same.
Yeah, I was like, I can't make Fuego sit through Sharknado alone. So anyway.
Like a chainsaw. Skin your ass, bro. Anyway.
Shark Night it's basically, it tries to be the cabin in the woods of shark movies.
Yeah.
Like it tries to have that young vibe and it tries to poke fun at itself, but I don't think it was as successful at poking fun of itself as it was at being just another version of these, college-age kids going over and getting killed by something. I mean, you could have inserted Jason Voorhees, could have inserted Victor Crowley, literally, because one of the main actors was in the original Hatchet, is the one that actually pops up again, missing an arm in Hatchet 3 as a bit of an Easter egg. That was him, yeah.
Okay.
That guy's in there, and you literally could have just insert slasher here, and it's that group of kids, right? And so they go to this summer house. Well, I guess we're not into the story quite yet. My overall thoughts: it's cheesy. If you don't want depth and you just want some silly shark kills, and the nice thing is there's a variance of sharks. It's not one kind of shark. It's literally like 5 or 6. So if you want a variance in shark kills and you don't care about not having really deep or frankly super well acted characters, then this movie might be for you. So I appreciate it on it's like some would say it's a B shark movie. It's more like a C or a D shark movie, but
we are
really
doing a shark tier list ranking.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but it's a fun one. It's a fun one. What about you?
I was expecting nothing out of this Donuts, as I often say. I'm not going to give the symbol, but nonetheless, man, I thought this was going to be such trash, and I was moderately entertained. I was, and especially with the rating it was given, there was more gore than I expected. I mean, limbs being ripped off at times, and I mean, there's other kills that are more so what you were expecting. Just, there's blood in the water with the opening kill. That was what I thought it was going to be more like the entire time. But even though they're cookie cutter kids, I mean, I saw this one
cookie cutter kids, cookie cutter sharks.
Exactly. I was, and that was maybe my favorite sequence because I was sitting, I was tracking drums with Mahalo yesterday, the guitarist in my band, and I just had that movie on when we were setting up microphones, and I was like, I've never seen no sharks before, and he just starts spouting off knowledge about them because he's a big shark guy too.
Yeah.
So that's a cool sequence. We'll get to it with effects and whatnot, but I mean, this was to give my overall impressions. It was very much like Cabin in the Woods meets Sharks and Wrong Turn sort of thing. Wrong Turn, especially with where they go. There are some human villains in this, and it was the one thing that I had no idea was going to be in this, and it kind of worked for me actually.
The twist at the end and all that. Okay.
And the dude with his he's chiseling his teeth into little shark teeth. It's ridiculous, but hey, it was so bad it was good, almost.
It is one of those things. Had I seen this at like a drive-in with a bunch of friends and drunk, like this would have been a perfect movie.
This is what I would have liked to have seen in 3D.
I did see it in 3D in the theater, but it's still, at the time, I didn't see it drunk, and I'm sure I didn't see it with a bunch of friends, because I'm pretty sure this would have been a me movie, because I didn't know you at the time, I don't think. So I'm pretty sure I would have had a hard time dragging anyone along to this, but But nonetheless, it's enjoyable for what it is.
It's entertaining, which I was not expecting. So props to them.
So the story is about a group of college-age kids that go to a lake house or a summer house. It is a lake house. And it turns out that they start encountering all these sharks, whether or not they're freshwater sharks or not. But it's a saltwater lake, they say.
Which is
So
how they justify it.
They justify it.
It's in
So
the Florida area, right? Like Tallahassee or
something like that.
around
Yeah,
there.
they
Louisiana. Like I know
I
it's
didn't
either
have
Louisiana
my MapQuest
or-
on when I watched it, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I saw a name on a boat of a state, and that was
okay.
the only correlation I made. Now that I think of it, I think it's Louisiana. But nonetheless, doesn't matter. It's that area where there's swampy spots for stuff to go unseen and nasty, and also the whole hick aspect that I mentioned.
Yeah, so each kid starts getting picked off by a different shark for different reasons, and you eventually find out that there's a human element to why the sharks are there and doing what they're doing, and it just is silly. It's who's going to survive, if anyone survives, and what's going to happen with the sharks and all that. So it's dumb, but it's fun. So
Yeah, no, that's the best way to describe this one in particular. And you've got, there's a few actors beyond even the Hatchet guy. The tall, skinny comedian dude. He was the comic relief guy in this. Maybe he's the one from Hatchet.
Yeah, that's the one from Hatchet.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I've seen him in various things over the years. And so, yeah, man, this is definitely check your brain in at the door with the amount of sharks that they have, the different varieties. You've got hammerheads, you've got the cookie cutter sharks, as I mentioned, are still my favorite part in this.
bull sharks, tiger sharks, great whites.
Oh yeah, yeah, but that sequence with a character being put in a cage, I didn't think that character was going to end up in said situation without spoiling things, so I was a little surprised.
So you got it caught you by surprise at times. No,
It did.
I think the characters, while the characters are shallow and not super great, the actors did a fine job portraying them.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was any issues really with the acting.
They weren't asked to stretch a lot in this.
No, not. A couple of them were stronger than others, but
True.
Ultimately, there's no one that really brought me out of the movie with their terribleness or anything like that.
Yeah, and there is some illogicality, just to jump really quick back to script that you have to get past. But it is that sort of movie. Check your brain in, like I said. The finale is ridiculous and yet fun at the same time. And I actually, before we jump to effects, I want to jump to music and the fact that this has like a butt rock 80s hair metal
big time.
abundance within it. They even talk about it.
I quite liked it, though.
I did too. It gave it that sort of
very
Joe Dirt,
specific
mullet-y
vibe.
kind of vibe and whatnot, which I'm kind of rocking right now. It's terrible, man. But nonetheless, I actually dug the music, and it gave it a little more flavor than I was anticipating, as opposed to just like the bro down, play some lit or something like that, which maybe would have been around this sort of time. And better in that regard than I expected. And when the character is playing Rat, I think it was Round and Round, and he's like, why do you got to subject me to this? And then he's like, play some Guns N' Roses almost. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, well, because it was the bad guy talking to the good guy. He's like, he says something where he's just like, you just made me love you, or something like that.
You're trying to get me not to kill you.
It's like Guns N' Roses it is.
Yeah.
So
and he put on Use Your Illusion too, and I was like, he threw the CD in. You didn't hear any of it, unfortunately. But yeah, the soundtrack worked for me when they deviated into that sort of stuff. So yeah, it was cool.
So we got to talk about the effects, of course.
A lot of different sharks.
A lot of different sharks, most of them CG, but they did have definitely some practical heads that were doing some chomping and shaking and stuff like that. So there was some fun to that, and the sharks didn't look bad. What was it, a 2011 movie, something like that?
I know it's almost 10 years old. It's getting up there at this particular time.
But it holds together better than, say, Bait. The sharks in Bait were definitely more CG looking at times.
I don't know. They were kind of on par.
You think so? Okay.
I just like Bait so much more.
I do. Bait is still
really
easily
good.
the best. After Jaws and The Shallows and Deep Blue Sea, I think Bait is fourth in shark line.
Did you rewatch Bait?
Yeah, I did. Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, because
I still think, even though the CG, I still think Bait is the most entertaining of all of these movies.
And I think it's from cast and everything, and also one sequence where they armor up this guy that I totally forgot
God,
about.
I
That's
forgot
an
about that too. That
awesome
was such a good
sequence,
scene,
man.
yeah.
Bait is really good. It has been reviewed here on the channel. Cecil and I a few years ago did
Early
a non-spoiler and spoiler discussion, so search for that if you're inclined. But you know, the one thing I do have to double down on real quick is that they after a lame kill at the beginning, there's a character who gets like his arm chewed off, and for a PG-13 movie to have gore and dripping and all this stuff, I was like, damn, they're going for they're pushing the limits. And I guess this is probably around the time when even on television shows like The Walking Dead were showing much more gore than a lot of people were used to. And hey, us Americans, man, we'll just let that stuff slide compared to many other regions of the world. We let that nastiness go. So yeah, I was surprised at times with how far they went. So yeah.
So if you want to see some silliness, if you want to see actors do just a fine job getting eaten by mostly CG sharks, if you want to see a great white shark pull a free willy over a jet ski, which it would never ever do in real life, then you can absolutely watch this movie to see it.
Mahalo and I were setting up microphones when that bit happened, and we were just both like, whoa! We were like, okay, nice.
It's cool to see, but it would never happen.
Absolutely not. And yet
cool.
that happens in all of these movies where I mean,
True.
great words are known to jump at times.
No, they jump straight up,
that's
though.
Right, that's
they
right.
They come at you from
because
below,
the prey is right
and
on
their
them, they
force
jump up.
propels them out of the water. It's not like they're jumping for fun or anything like that.
Okay, that's
so they never come out at like with the
Clarification.
intent of going over something to grab prey. They don't do that.
Well, and also, I don't think you can really shoot guns underwater in this Laird, like of a very special
No, some
variety.
some can.
That's what I
Some
said.
can, yeah. But anyway, guys, I think that's pretty much gonna do it for our review of Shark Night 3D. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and I believe this review is going to take us all the way up. You have a hail tomorrow.
Yep, Saturday.
And then,
it's going to be Under the Dome, second season for an anniversary.
Okay, and then Sunday we'll be back with our review, or no, Sunday we're going to do the tier list ranking of all the shark movies, and then the final review will be Sharknado on Monday, which will give us 2 straight weeks outside of the 2 hail episodes of shark coverage here on the horror show. So
how deep are we going to go with the tier ranking? Because
you saw we've got some movies that if there's sharks,
there's some that I haven't seen. I mean, like
no, you've seen them all.
Shark and Saw.
Oh no, we're not doing that. No.
And House
we're not
Shark
doing that. We're not doing all of the sci-fi movies, all that crap. No. That'll be a separate one that Brian Gatto can do.
Yes.
So
shout out Gatto.
Thanks very much for watching, you guys. If you enjoyed the video, click the like button and subscribe. If you want to become a patron, the link is in the description box where you can actually request movies for us to review, do commentaries for, stuff like that. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias, Jaime, and Fuego.
And remember, stay scared.